Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to today's JCSE meeting. Just to let you all know that this meeting will be live streamed on YouTube and on the Council's website. Let's start by having apologies and substitutes for absence. Councillor Wilkinson.
Thank you, Chair. Apologies from Councillor Roxanne Ellis, who's ill. I'm afraid I haven't heard from Councillor Miller. I'm not sure there's been a mix-up there.
Thank you very much, and everybody else is present. So we'll move on to item 2, is to approve the minutes from the last meeting on the 22nd of February. Can somebody propose these minutes for me, please? Would somebody like to second them? Thank you very much. Is there any comments people wish to add about these minutes? No? Okay. Let's move on to agenda item number 3. Any declarations of interest in the agenda tonight? No? Okay. Thank you very much. Agenda item number 4. Current staffing issues. It's over to you, David.
Thank you, Chair. So the first item is just a report about some current staffing issues. First one that we've highlighted in the report is confirmation of the National Pay Awards at 1.75% for most staff under the NJC conditions of service, and at 1.5% for chief officers. So I think last time that we spoke here, things were sort of heading towards conclusion, but just to confirm that position. We don't have any information about the 2022-23 awards yet. I think that's something we're expecting to see quite soon, perhaps as a proposal from the trade unions. And the second item is just to let you know that training that's been long outstanding and really held back because of the pandemic has actually happened now. So courses or programs that have been designed to support people with mental health issues, they took place in April. So 2 programs really. One was directed at employees who themselves might suffer from mental health, and it was about trying to ensure good mental health from a personal perspective. And secondly, the other program was directed at managers to help them support employees within their teams who might be suffering from mental health issues. So just to confirm that those actually have taken place now after something of a delay, so some good news. And the recommendation, Chair, is just to note the report.
Thank you very much. Anybody like to just add anything? Okay, recommendation is to note the report. The report is noted. Thank you, David. Agenda item number 5, please. It's you again, David.
Thank you, Chair. So just a very brief report to confirm changes that have been implemented outside this formal JCSC arena. Within the property services team within within regeneration and welfare, a deletion of 3 posts and creation of 3 new posts. Only 1 post was actually occupied, and in terms of that post holder and their experience and qualification, they were ring-fenced against one of the new posts that was created, and they were successful in achieving appointment to that post. So really just to let you know that has happened. And the other remaining 2 posts now, the new posts, are being advertised, and we're trying to fill externally. So again, Chair, just a report to note, please.
Thank you very much. Anybody like to add anything? Okay. Recommendation is to note the report. Thank you, David. Agenda item number 6. It's you again, David.
Yep, thank you, Chair. So report, I suppose, in 2 parts, really. One is to report to you the outturn on the year. So if you remember that the annual target for sickness is 9 days lost, so that's 9 full-time equivalent days lost per full-time equivalent employee. That's the target. This year we fell short of that. We arrived at a number of 11.2 days lost, which is about 25% worse than target. My understanding across the county is that most other local authorities suffered losses due to absence at higher rates than target, and 11.2 days is a lot of time lost. but it's not outstanding in terms of other authorities that we have close by to us either. At the start of the year, you'll remember that losses due to COVID were fairly small as a proportion. As the year went on, with strains of COVID that were more virulent, then actually the number of absences and the number of days lost because of COVID began to increase quite dramatically. And by the year end, in March, we lost 103 days out of a total of 380 because of COVID. So as the year went on, that had more and more impact. No proposals to review the target. We've seen in years gone by that 9 days absence is definitely achievable. So the plan would be to increase target at all. And the hope would be that as COVID probably becomes more, I suppose, endemic, as is the case with flu, then we'll manage those absences within normal absence policies, and that because predominantly, I suppose, the effect of COVID becomes less and less, then we'd expect the days lost because of that to reduce going forwards. So that, I think, covers the outturn for the year. The second half of the paper, I just wanted to introduce really to let you know about absences and perhaps the reasons for absence, the ones that were most predominant over the year. So you'll see at Appendix 2 on page 20 a table there that shows probably the top 3 reasons for absence. So the first one was depression and stress, although not necessarily work-related, back problems, and COVID. There's been a marked increase in the amount of absence due to depression and stress over the last year. Probably not surprising when you think about the employee survey that we talked about at the last meeting of this committee, where 34% of people felt that their mental health had worsened during the last year. So the absence levels really do support that feeling, I suppose. What are we doing about that, and what have we done about that? Again, I think in previous committee meetings I've mentioned the bespoke work that we commissioned a year ago and has been run and made available to staff, which was a general wellbeing programme. We continue to actively promote the employee assistance programme, which offers one-to-one support and talking therapies to all employees. So we promote that through posters as well as intranet. And I mentioned already the training courses that took place in April this year that were designed specifically to help support people with mental health issues as well. So it has been a problem. We've tried to do things about that. And the hope, I think, is that as we return to what is, I guess, a new normal, that things will perhaps become calmer. Levels of absence relating to back problems, in some ways not a surprise, because actually what the stats tell us is that those absences predominantly relate to people doing perhaps heavier work, manual work, frontline work. I suppose in some ways that might be, perhaps a perverse way, reassuring in that we've had a lot of people working from home over the last 2 years, and perhaps sometimes in conditions that are less than ideal. So obviously we undertake proper assessment of workplaces at home, but it will be different to work. And I suppose a concern that we had was that perhaps some people working in those conditions, might potentially suffer from things like back problems because of furniture that may have been a little bit unsuitable, or positioning of workstations that was unsuitable. That doesn't seem to have been the case. The third reason that shows us perhaps one of the higher reasons for absence is COVID, and again we've spoken about that. The absence rate due to COVID last year was double the year before, so it's unsurprising that it appears on that list at number 3. So again, Chair, the report's there to note, but happy to take questions as well.
Okay, Councillor Wilkinson first, and then Councillor Feeney after.
Thank you, Chair, and thank you, David. Obviously, the figure is a little bit disappointing, but I think we understand the reasons why, and I'm sure you and your team are doing all you can to to keep absences down. You've already answered part of what I was going to ask, which is about how much impact the pandemic might have had on the depression, stress, or similar category. My second one refers to COVID itself, where obviously you've said that has had a significant, and that's borne out by the figures, significant impact on the figures. Just wondering whether any of that is long COVID, or whether you've seen any significant impact of long COVID, and whether there is anything being done to counter it, or deal with it and support staff where that is the case.
So we don't record difference between long COVID and just I suppose a normal, is that the right word? A normal sort of occasion of COVID. So there have been people who have reported absence because of COVID during the year, and who have been off for longer than perhaps the 2 or 3 or 4 days. I think that what I would say is that for any absence, if there were perhaps longer term impacts of any sort of condition, we would look to get people back in a way that made sense. So that might be a sort of softer starts. And I can't tell you about particular cases, because I think the number of cases that we've had reported to us, I can't think of one specific, if I'm honest with you. So I think locally within teams that have been dealt with effectively, and nothing's come to my attention.
Councillor Feeney.
There it is. Just how the sickness record, injuries at work are pretty good, aren't they? 1.25 from last year was 1.48, and there's no days lost through medical certificates, and only 5 days self-certified. That's phenomenal. I deal with that. That is actually, so there's only 5 days lost through sickness at work, and none of them are actually off for more than a week. That's remarkable.
No, the figures are remarkable. I think as well, if you bear in mind, I suppose what's happened over the last year or two, there have been fewer people sort of perhaps being here at work as well. So I think that whether that has made any impact or not, don't know, if I'm honest. I suppose what I do know is that I've been down to places like Depot, and I know that the people there have, over the last 18 months and 2 years, what they've done to keep things going as well. And I'm not saying there hasn't been sickness, but people have been really keen to get in and get the work done. So it's credit to them.
Thank you very much. Any more questions on this agenda item for David? If that's a no, we'll move on to agenda item number 7. I've got nothing that I consider urgent. Agenda item number 8 is the exclusion of press and public. Second. All those in favour, show hands. Thank you very much. Now we'll move to the restricted part of the agenda.